Marina Sovskaya, e-business manager Janssen-Cilag. For me personally, that means engaging with healthcare professionals in the way how they prefer to be engaged. So it's using the medium of their choice, using the content of their choice, and giving really healthcare professionals the whole range of different services and different communication opportunities based on their preferences.
I'm Len Starnes, and I head up digital marketing and sales for the General Medicine business unit at Pharma based in Berlin. Well, one of the areas that I've been looking at very intensively over the last couple of years is the growth of physician social networks. These are dedicated physician social networks. I'm personally convinced, in fact, that they will play a very significant role in the way that the industry engages the profession in future. If you just look at the phenomenon globally to see how it's grown, look at the numbers of doctors that are now using networks, and if you look at behaviours and expectations of young doctors, they're all using social networks in some way, and will expect to continue using social networks professionally when they become doctors. So that poses the question, okay, are these platforms, are these networks perhaps more suitable platforms for the industry to engage? And I'm absolutely convinced they really are.
Hello, my name is Ghinn. I am eMarketing manager at Pfizer Europe. That there is a shift from purely focus on HCP initiatives and really focus on the physicians over to just like to really take into account that we have empowered patients and they actually deserve a lot more attention than we have given them in the past. So that is also, I think, a very good development in the right direction, and which goes hand in hand with social media, where there's a lot of talk about it. And I think the industry is really finding their ways now to take big steps into this area as well.
Alex Butler, Communications Manager at Janssen-Cilag. Working in communications, I suppose, for me, healthcare engagement means how we engage with all of the stakeholders. And I think that's the major dramatic change for me over the last 2 or 3 years. And the big group that I would point to as patients.
We're seeing, and everyone's talking about patients doing their own thing, not waiting for information to be supplied by the industry or any other sources. Patients are connecting with one another. Patients are connecting with one another, talking about our own brands, talking about treatments.
I think there is actually quite a lot of research that shows that pharma has to be part of that conversation because, well, first of all, we have the information, we're heavily regulated, we know that we've got a lot of internal as well as external procedures, and if we're not part of that conversation, we're actually missing out on a really good opportunity for patients to get the information that they actually need. I think definitely with the social media space there will be more and more examples of pharma companies venturing out there and launching a new Twitter sites or Facebook pages or engaging in the conversation, etc., and doing it a lot more openly as opposed to trying to really pretend that they're not part of that dialogue. So I think that's definitely something that is going to be happening.
So I see a couple of trends coming up, just like that we should focus more on strategic ways of getting our digital initiatives up online, where it was different in the last years here at Pharma, where there was a lot of talk about like tactics, and now it's really about integrating everything that is done digitally into the usual brand plans, which makes perfect sense in my opinion.
I think what's interesting though is that I think there is quite a dramatic change in the way that pharmaceutical companies now seem to openly admit that they have to engage online in a social media setting, whereas I think even maybe 6 to 12 months ago it was a small group of passionate people who believed that. But now I think even you can go to very senior management level, they understand that it's a difficult situation but that it has to be done.
I'm personally very impressed by initiatives such as Patients Like Me, where we're beginning to see learnings and information about diseases and treatments that we couldn't have imagined a few years ago. I've been involved in multiple sclerosis for a long time, and I remember questions we were asking about dosages of treatments that we were marketing. These questions have now been answered. If you go to Patients Like Me, we can see what 1,000 MS patients taking our drug are actually doing right now. So I think the industry is just starting to grapple with what the implications of having this real-world patient data actually might be. It's the tip of the new iceberg, which is called Health 2.0, Health and Medicine 2.0. And I think that's something we, as an industry, have really got to understand.